Okay, you guys are going to flip when you hear this latest royal mess. It's way more twisted than anything we've seen so far, and it all boils down to one thing: Meghan Markle, or Rachel Meghan Markle, if you want to get formal. See, everyone's been talking about Prince Harry's lawsuits against the British press, right? The claims about phone hacking, invasions of privacy, all that jazz. And yeah, Harry does have a track record of, let's say, questionable judgment. But behind the scenes, allegedly pulling the strings, it's been Meghan all along. Think back to Suits. Remember Rachel Zane, the paralegal with the photographic memory who could practically recite the Constitution? Well, apparently that legal savvy didn't just stay on TV. According to some, this entire lawsuit strategy, the whole thing, is actually her brainchild. And then it gets worse. Remember how Harry is always talking about how the press treated his mother, Princess Diana? How the BBC allegedly hounded her, especially with that controversial Martin Bashir interview. Well, according to critics, Harry is now doing the very same thing he accuses the press of doing. Hypocrisy much? Specifically, there's Baroness Lawrence of Clarendon. Her son was murdered in a racist attack, absolutely horrific, right? And for years, the Daily Mail, of all papers, actually championed her cause and helped her fight for justice. So imagine her surprise when Prince Harry comes along, says he's suing the Daily Mail for phone hacking, and wants her to join the lawsuit. She trusts him, right? Why wouldn't she? He's Prince Harry. But here's where things get really disturbing. There are claims that Harry's legal team, possibly at Meghan Markle's urging, falsified evidence and fabricated witness statements to get her on board. Allegedly, they manufactured evidence in a way critics compare to how Martin Bashir manipulated Princess Diana, exploiting her grief. This time, the accusation is even darker, that a black woman whose son was murdered in a racist hate crime was used in the same way. If true, it raises the question, how low can you go? And it gets worse. One of the key witnesses, a man named Gavin Burrows, testified in court that he never wrote the statement attributed to him. He said the entire thing was made up. That's an allegation of perjury, right there in broad daylight. But did the judge take action? Apparently not. The case just keeps chugging along, which begs the question, what on earth is going on? Now, let's rewind a bit and bring Elton John into the picture. Back in 2016, Elton John had his own serious conflict with the press. He was sued for sexual harassment by a security guard, lost a bid to keep the case private, and was reportedly furious. So, what did he do next? According to one theory, he allegedly brought Meghan Markle into the fold. Meghan, with her Hollywood connections and, let's call it, ambition. The claim is that Elton John used Meghan as a bridge to Prince Harry, recruiting him into a wider anti-press crusade. And apparently, it worked. Harry, driven by his long-standing grievances and perhaps influenced by Meghan's persuasion, jumped right in. In fact, Prince Harry himself admits in his book Spare that Elton John and a lawyer named David Sherburne were instrumental in getting the lawsuit off the ground. And this is where things start to look even shadier. According to critics, the entire case should have been thrown out years ago because it falls outside the statute of limitations. Yet somehow, it was allowed to proceed. The allegation? That because Harry is the king's son, the judge made an exception. Influence peddling, some say, plain and simple. So let's recap the allegations. Elton John allegedly manipulating Meghan Markle to get access to Prince Harry. Harry allegedly falsifying evidence and exploiting a grieving mother. And a judge who appears to be turning a blind eye to recanted testimony and possible perjury. It's a royal dumpster fire. And where is Meghan Markle in all of this now? Some claim she's using Harry and is already done with him. The narrative goes something like, "Thanks for helping me get revenge on the press. Bye, Felicia." According to these voices, she got what she wanted and walked away, leaving Harry alone to deal with the fallout. There are even unverified claims that she's avoiding the IRS. So yes, she may be back in the UK, but not, allegedly, for a warm family reunion. And as for the judge, he's letting the whole thing play out. With witnesses recanting and clear signs, at least according to critics, of something deeply wrong, you'd expect him to slam the gavel and order an investigation. But so far, nada. Some people are now wondering whether the judge is compromised, whether he has something to lose by digging too deep. Is he trying to protect Prince Harry, Elton John, or maybe even himself? It's hard not to suspect that something seriously corrupt could be going on behind the scenes. And then there's Gavin Burrows, the witness who says he was completely set up. He's reportedly gone into hiding. Can you really blame him? He likely feels like he has no one on his side, that Harry and his powerful allies are prepared to make him the fall guy. If you believed your life might be in danger because you knew too much, wouldn't you disappear too? It's a terrifying situation. Then you have commentators like Tom Somebody saying things like, "Poor Harry, he doesn't know any better. Give me a break." Ignorance isn't an excuse when you're allegedly tampering with evidence and potentially ruining lives. Prince Harry is a grown man, a prince, for crying out loud. He has access to the best lawyers, advisors, and resources imaginable. He doesn't get to plead ignorance. Now, the idea that Meghan Markle is the mastermind behind everything, that she manipulated Harry into all of this as part of Elton John's revenge on the press, sounds wild, but to some, it fits. She's always been seen as incredibly ambitious and clearly not afraid to play dirty. She's also a trained paralegal. She understands the legal system. It's not a massive leap, critics argue, to think she may have helped design this entire strategy. But here's the key point. Even if Meghan did orchestrate everything, Harry is still responsible. He's the one who signed off on it. He's the one fronting the lawsuit. He can't just blame his wife and walk away unscathed. He needs to be held accountable for his own actions. If you or I did something like this, we'd likely be in jail. So why should Prince Harry be any different? Why aren't people calling for his arrest? Why isn't the judge demanding a full investigation? It feels like everyone is afraid to touch this case because it involves the royal family, and that's nonsense. Justice is supposed to be blind, no matter who you are. And the fact that Baroness Lawrence of Clarendon, a woman who has already suffered unimaginable loss, was allegedly used in this way is deeply disturbing. To exploit her grief, to potentially falsify evidence just to pull her into this legal mess, is beyond the pale. It's morally reprehensible. So what happens next? Honestly, who knows? Maybe the truth will finally come out and Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and Elton John will all face consequences. Or maybe they'll get away with it, and the rich and powerful will continue playing by their own rules. But one thing feels certain to critics. This whole saga is a stain on the royal family, the British legal system, and everyone involved in this alleged scheme. It's a terrible situation all around. And then there's the claim about Meghan Markle supposedly running from the IRS, which just adds another layer of chaos to an already messy story. Is she really that desperate to avoid paying taxes? It's hard to keep up with all the drama. At the end of the day, it comes down to this. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you have a group of wealthy, entitled people who believe they're above the law, you end up with a disaster like this. It's sad, and while there's hope that justice will eventually prevail, many aren't holding their breath. The whole thing just feels too broken. Disgusting, right? This isn't just another celebrity squabble. According to critics, it's about justice, about a judge who may be covering up wrongdoing, about powerful people allegedly getting away with actions that would land you or me in jail in no time. And the media? They're acting shocked, as if no one saw this coming. Please. Some people were calling this out months ago. Still, even if the judge is compromised, even if parts of the media are complicit, there's a chance justice could win out. People are starting to wake up. They're seeing through what they call the nonsense. They're questioning the narrative that Harry and Meghan are innocent victims. Instead, they see power players who aren't afraid to use influence to get what they want. And let's be honest, this whole situation reeks of desperation. Why would Prince Harry risk his reputation and his family's legacy over a lawsuit that, according to critics, should have been thrown out years ago? Is it because he has something to hide, or because he's so blinded by anger and resentment that he can't think clearly? Either way, it's not a good look. As for Meghan Markle, some critics go even further, questioning her motives and behavior entirely. They ask, who would use a grieving mother as a pawn in a revenge campaign? Who would allegedly manipulate their own husband into actions that could carry serious legal consequences? To them, it looks like she's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, and she's willing to sacrifice anyone to win. But karma has a way of catching up. Maybe that's why there are claims she's running from the IRS. Maybe she's finally realizing that you can't outrun the consequences forever. Or maybe she's just moving on to her next victim, who knows? The sad reality is that this entire mess is only reinforcing the public cynicism about the royal family, the legal system, and institutions in general. People are losing faith, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. When corruption and abuse of power appear to be unfolding right in front of everyone's eyes, staying optimistic becomes a real challenge. Still, giving up isn't an option. People argue that this needs to be called out, again and again. Accountability has to be demanded, even when the odds feel stacked against ordinary people. Because if no one pushes back, who will? Maybe, just maybe, one day Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Elton John, and even the judge involved will be held accountable for their actions. Maybe Gavin Burrows will finally receive the protection he deserves. Maybe Baroness Lawrence of Clarendon will see the justice she's been fighting for all these years. And even if none of that happens, the argument is that people still can't stop trying. The alternative is letting the powerful get away with whatever they want, and that's not a world many are willing to accept. So keep sharing the story. Keep talking about it. Keep demanding answers. The more people who know, the harder it becomes to bury the truth. And maybe, just maybe, that pressure will make a difference. It's a long shot, sure, but it's worth fighting for. What's the alternative? Sitting back and watching everything fall apart? That doesn't sit right with a lot of people. Some even believe this whole situation could backfire on those involved. When you play with fire, you eventually get burned. That's how it goes. So the message from critics is clear. Keep the pressure on. Keep shining a light into dark places. Keep fighting for justice, even when it feels impossible. Don't let anyone silence you, intimidate you, or convince you that you're crazy for questioning what's happening. You're not crazy, you're paying attention. And in a world where many people look the other way, that might be the most dangerous thing of all. Stay strong, stay informed, and keep fighting the good fight because, according to those watching closely, the world needs it now more than ever.